Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Mitch's 미친영어코칭. I'm here to help you speak English more comfortably and more professionally and more confidently in business, in life, in social interactions, wherever you are, wherever you need to speak English. Subscribe to this channel and I will help you with these videos, video lessons, just short 10-minute videos trying to give you some useful tips, useful phrases, things like that will help you. If you want to see more of my content, go to my website at mitchinenglishcoach.com. And there I have some online courses. You can sign up for those. There's a free sample. You can try it out. It's kind of like this, but more in-depth and bigger, longer videos. And we have more content. And there's a lot of grammar, vocabulary, PDF files, practice files, shadowing audio files, lots of things in each lesson to help you really improve your English speaking level. So if you are interested, please check that out at my website at mitchinenglishcoach.com. Now today we're going to talk about how to get a raise. When you're at work, okay, you need to talk to your boss, you need a raise. Now, some of you might have to do this in Korean, right? Because if your boss is Korean, you're not going to do this in English. Some of you, though, I know, work in the US or in Canada, in England, and so you would need to do this in English. Those of you that need to do it in Korean, this could also help you even in Korean, right? The principles I'm going to talk about in this video are not just language-based, although I'll give you some English phrases to use, but more than that, they are just useful ways, methods to ask for a raise in a polite way, but also in a way that negotiates your value, okay? Because negotiating is a business transaction, right? You're not asking for a favor. When you ask for a raise, you're not just going to your boss and saying, I need more money. Give me more money, please. It's not like you're begging, right? It's not a charity. You're working hard. Now, the first thing I would say is don't ask for a raise if you don't deserve a raise, okay? A lot of people, they think, oh, it's been a year, time for another raise. I need more money. Well, that's not how business works, right? Because the boss, probably most bosses would be happy to pay you more if you are making them more money, right? If you bring them more money, if you bring them more clients, if you bring them, a smoother work day, everything's working efficiently, you're managing your team well, whatever value you bring to the company, most bosses are going to see that and say, oh, I don't want to lose this person. I really value them, so I need to give them a raise. So if you perform well, very well, outperforming everybody else, then probably your boss will give you a raise anyway. You don't even have to ask, okay? But, people sometimes don't want to just hand out money, so they might need a little reminder, okay? In that case, you're not asking for a favor. You're not just asking like your parents for pocket money. You're asking based on your performance and your value, okay? And you need to show that to the boss. You need to show them that you have value. Okay, so I'm going to give you 4 phases here for you to try to negotiate with your boss to get a raise or to get some benefit. Maybe you want some vacation time, whatever. The principles will be the same whenever you need to talk to your boss and try to negotiate for a raise, okay? So the first phase 1, is the opening. This is very important. Don't just come up to your boss at a very busy time or unscheduled time and say, I want to talk to you. I need a raise. Like, that's not going to work. You're not going to get anything. That's very unprofessional. So what you do, shoot an email, go and talk to them and say, I'd like to schedule a time to discuss my performance and compensation. That's the phrase you're going to use in English. I'd like to schedule a time. You need to schedule a time to discuss my performance and compensation. Compensation means payment, right? For my performance. My performance is good, so I want to be compensated. That's what you're asking. But it's a very professional way and a very polite way to ask, okay? So that's the first thing. You got to schedule the time with the boss, okay? And it's got to be on the calendar. Probably you'll need to sit down in their office, in your office, in a quiet place and have a discussion, right? This is not just a quick question. This is a discussion. It's a negotiation. So That's the first thing, set the opening. Then phase 2, the proof. You have to prove your value. Okay, you got to prove, what did you do? Why do you deserve a raise? You say, okay, you have a meeting, you say, yeah, I know I scheduled this time because I want to discuss my performance, my compensation. This year or this quarter, I delivered X or I generated Y, I delivered, generated, using these kind of verbs to show that you contributed, right? What did you do? What did you generate would be like revenue or profit. Delivered, some project, some product, some results, right? What are your results? Okay, what did you do? Why should they think that they need to give you more money if you don't present them with the proof, right? You need the proof. Why do you need to get a raise? Okay, so you say it in a very professional way, not in an arrogant way, like, I made this company so much money. No, not like that. You're going to say it, like this last quarter, I believe I proved myself in the company and I delivered this, I generated this, I had some good results from these projects. I brought the company more income. Anytime you can mention that, if you have done something that really generated more income for the company, say it, because they may need to be reminded of that. They probably know that, but they need to be reminded of that because if you brought them more money, it's only fair that you should probably get some more money too, right? If it's a lot of money. But that's just how business works. And the boss will probably understand that if they are a reasonable person. Now, I know not all bosses are reasonable. I can't help you with those kind of bosses. In that case, you might need to try to get another job, okay? But most bosses, they're going to be reasonable. If you brought the company money, if you brought the company customers, if you brought the company to a new level of management, or the efficiency, everything's working smoothly because of your work, because of your job, then probably the boss will see that, recognize that. And when you ask and you prove that to them, they will say, yeah, you know what, that's right, you've really worked hard, you've done a good job. Okay, and then phase 3, that brings it to phase 3, asking time, the ask. You got to ask, okay? So here's a good phrase to use to ask, okay? It's hard to ask for money. Everybody knows that, but you could say it like this. Based on the market rate and my contributions, I was looking for a range of, then give the amount. How much money do you think you're going to ask for? So based on the market rate, that means we say going rate too. Based on the going rate, market rate, that means the average for this position, for this job, in this industry, the average payment is like this, and I'm down here. So I'm basing my request on the market average, the market rate, okay? The going rate. And also my contributions, what I contributed to the company. So I'm looking for a range of this, So we use I was looking for a range, past tense, because that is more formal way to ask in English, okay? When you use the past tense in this sense, I was looking for a range. You could just say, I am looking for a range, but that sounds a little too pushy, a little too strong in English. So when we change it to the past tense, I was looking for a range of, from here to there, it sounds a little better, okay? In English, it sounds a lot better, actually. More polite. It sounds like you're requesting, not demanding, okay? So remember that the past tense in these kind of formal questions is very important because it adds a level of formality and a level of respect and politeness, okay? All right, and then after you ask, then phase 4, handling no. What if they say no? Because it's very likely bosses don't like to give up money. They might say, no, I'm sorry, we just can't right now. Then don't argue, don't make a scene, don't do that. Just accept it and ask this one question. Say, okay, so what milestones would I need to hit to reach that salary, right? To reach that point? What milestones would I need to hit? What further contributions do you need from me to be able to justify that salary? Okay, what that means is, if I'm going to get this salary, I still want it. I'm not just giving up. So if I need to get this salary, what what things do I need to do? What milestones? What milestone means important stepping stones to get to that point. Or you could say, what further contributions would I need to hit? Because you've already talked about your contributions and your boss said that's not enough. Okay, I understand that. So what further contributions would I need to provide to reach this target salary? Okay, that's a good way to ask, because that means you're willing to work for it. You want to earn that. Okay, you think you earned it already, but that could just be your own thinking, right? Your boss may not agree. The company may not agree. The boss may have a boss above them that doesn't agree. So then make a plan with your boss. Say like, okay, but I really would like to get to this salary level. So what do I need to do in order to get that? Okay. And that way your boss is saying, okay, that's reasonable. He wants to work harder. She wants to work harder. Then let's make a plan. Let's get a plan of action so that we can get to this salary level. Then you'll be happy, we'll be happy, win-win. Okay? It's a negotiation. Asking for a raise is a negotiation, and you're negotiating your value. What value do you bring to the company? You need to show that. And at the very least, if nothing happens and you don't get any raise, at least you feel better because you asked, and you've also proven to the boss that you actually do contribute a lot and you have a lot of value. And they won't forget that. They won't forget that, okay? They probably know it already. Like I said, if you truly are bringing value to the company, they know that already. But never hurts to remind them. Never hurts to remind them, okay? So those are my tips for trying to ask for a raise. And again, if it doesn't work, it's okay. Don't worry. You can always try again. Or you can always quit, go to a different job. You have that option too, right? But I wouldn't talk about that with your boss right up front. That's not a good way to get a raise. Don't threaten. Like, if you don't give me a raise, I'm out of here. That's not really professional either, okay? I don't think you'll need to do that. If you're really bringing value to the company, you don't need to threaten. Sometimes you might need to point it out to the boss. But once you do, probably you're going to get that raise, okay? But again, you got to provide. You got to be providing value to the company. Make sure that's the first step, right? If you're not, then don't ask for a raise. You don't deserve it, okay? But I bet you are, because I know you're watching this video, which means at least you're trying to improve. You're trying to grow your English skill, your professionalism, all of that. So that's a good sign, and I think you'll get it. So try. Next time you get a chance, talk to your boss. Follow these 4 steps, and I hope it works out for you. Let me know in the comment section if it works. Just say, I did it. I got it. Yeah? Okay. All right, everybody. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.